Turning to new developments in the case against Donald Trump, now a criminal defendant in New York. He is a citizen now, though he's also running for president, but legally he is just like anyone else. And there's going to be a new hearing that's announced for this Thursday. Take it together, and it's actually only been a single month since Donald Trump was booked and fingerprinted and arraigned in a New York City courtroom. A day many thought would never come has now become just an ordinary memory in American life. With this new hearing, will center on evidence. Donald Trump's lawyers are fighting with the DA, Alvin Bragg, who has asked the judge to restrict even the defendant, Donald Trump's own access to some of the case material. Now, I can actually tell you that's a pretty striking and somewhat unusual request. Everyone, I think, who's ever followed a courtroom drama knows that the defendant has certain rights, which include facing accusers or facing them through their lawyer, cross-examination, an impartial jury, and dealing with all of the evidence. Indeed, if you follow this closely, you may have seen cases where people get in trouble precisely because the prosecutors didn't turn over evidence to the defense side, because in our system of laws and justice, you are afforded that right to see all the evidence, including stuff that you might not have that the government has that might help you. So it is striking, although it doesn't mean it's impossible, to restrict what a defendant gets. And indeed, I just described that to you as a general matter, but Donald Trump's lawyers make a related point. They say that what the DA is basically trying to do is, quote, extreme, barring Trump from discussing the evidence that he would want to obtain and then possibly relate, discuss, and debate, that all of this would operate to even potentially violate his First Amendment rights. So that right there is an interesting clash about someone who has proven himself, at least in the eyes of the DOJ, to be so irresponsible with materials, evidence, allegedly classified material, that he had his home searched. So there are definitely two sides of it. Now, the hearing for Thursday will occur without Donald Trump in attendance. The DA has generally been aggressive. They used, of course, that first hearing, the in-person arraignment, to rebuke Donald Trump's public threats in the courtroom. Actually, though, while that was very important, that was done in court. When it comes to learning other things, maybe the plans, maybe other criticisms of Trump, maybe other legal points, well, DA Bragg has been pretty tight-lipped. Here he was when asked about the threats part at a recent discussion.
While we will not ignore threats, we're not going to be deterred. We're going to continue to do all of our work on all of our cases.
That's a pretty consistent statement we've heard out of the DA's office. They have gotten these threatening letters and other things we've reported on. But the DA is not doing the kind of media or internet antics of, say, the defendant he's prosecuting. Indeed, asked to elaborate about some of this in the case, the same DA here kind of showed his Bob Mueller side, if you will, basically telling the public and reporters there's already a court filing, there's already a written statement online, and you can read that again if you want.
We had a press conference and issued a press release. We have a page on the website with the press release, which lays out the allegations and an overview of the indictment. And that's the last time we've kind of spoken publicly, and sort of that is the document. We won't go beyond that, and we'll speak in court. But it's on our website.
For prosecuting a former president for the first time in American history, he sounds almost blasé. That may be deliberate. He's basically not taking the bait or the invitation or the provocation to be in an ongoing public media feud with Donald Trump. And the DA doesn't need to be. He has power in court that can send people to prison. So what happens out here is kind of a side point. He needs the judge and the jury in any case. Now, there is someone else who's a veteran of that same office who has been louder. He served primarily in a period before Alvin Bragg won the election and took over as DA. You may remember some of his many media appearances, Mark Pomerantz. He wrote this book, he did the press tour, and now, after some back and forth, he's set to testify to Congress. There was this clash. DA Bragg did try to see if they could stop him from testifying, but now they've agreed to let Pomerantz testify. He is scheduled to do that in what will be a closed-door hearing next Friday. Based on how the Republicans have acted on that committee up to this point, though, you could expect a lot of public leaks about what they're going to do. So we have a quiet current DA. We have a veteran of the office who's a little louder. We have Republicans who want to make something of this private testimony. And ultimately, if the case is not dismissed, we have the trial of a former president facing felonies.